Thanks so much for your time. I am Pius Kojobaka, and we want to begin business from the pumps because some oil marketing companies have started reducing prices of petroleum products at the pumps. Market leader Goil is this morning selling a litre of petrol at 14 cedis 22 pesos, representing almost 2% decline. Now, diesel has gone down by 9 pesos and it's selling at 14 cedis 90 pesos per litre. Now, market watchers are attributing this adjustment to Cedi's sustained recovery and the stability of crude oil on the international market. Well, many are looking forward to seeing the margin of reduction for the over 100 oil marketing companies in the country reducing their products. Well, let's get some analysis on this, and let's get on Zoom and speak to energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Suleimana. Thanks so much, Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, for agreeing to speak to us on Business Live. Now, it appears the relative stability of the cedi is playing a significant role in ensuring prices at the pumps reduce, isn't it?
Thank you very much. Good evening to you, Pius, and to your cherished listeners and viewers in Ghana and across the globe. Indeed, you're right, and that tells us what the cedi, the contributing factor, or the contribution of exchange rates to what the consumer pays at the pump. If you look at what the consumer pays at the pump, there are three areas that will contribute hugely. There are other side factors, but those three areas will be like how much the product sells within the international scene. That's one side. The cumulative amount of taxes and levies within the price build-up, that's another point. And then the third point will be the exchange rates. Over the years, we hadn't seen the impact of this, or we hadn't appreciated the impact of the exchange rates. But because of the kind of market that we operate, where we almost export everything we produce and import everything we consume as in petroleum products, the exchange rates have become a force to reckon with. So yes, indeed, what you are seeing, this reduction there we are seeing, we welcome that, and I commend especially the market leader for taking this giant step. Because Pius, I always say that Goil has a lot to play. And because also they are operating the entity as a purely business entity, which is very good anyhow. That has managed to sustain Goil as we speak now. But as a market leader to take that step to be able to reduce, I think it's a welcoming one. So yes, it tells us that there's a lot could have been achieved if you manage to stabilize the cedi. And so, yes, people ask how sustainable will this one be. Yes, the sustainability will be based on the fact that if the cedi can continue to gain grounds and become stronger and stronger as you go, and also we don't have anything happening within the international scene. For taxes, I know it's going to stay as this. Once we don't anticipate any reduction in any of the taxes. We don't also, I think Ghanaians are not ready for any tax increment at this minute. I mean, I think the government will also not do that at this minute. So yes, what we are seeing now is because of the cedi relative stability, and we are hoping that it should continue to gain the momentum. If it does so, it will help the pumps a lot, Pius.
And ironically, this is happening at a time geopolitical tension is quite high on the international front, correct?
That's a fact, and that's the area that I was coming next. Because the market is very fluid, the market is quite unstable. When I say the market, I'm talking about the international scene. Ideally, we should have been having oil prices skyrocketing, at this moment in time. Whatever be the reason, we are so lucky that we still have oil price within the 80s. It is not low and it is not too high. Because if you look at the huge geopolitical tensions with the potential to escalate, that is happening within the international scene, where the entire Middle East has the potential to be engulfed in the conflict that is ongoing, though players are working seriously or assiduously, to curtail and contain it. Other than that, anything short of that would have been a different story. But what is playing out here is a big picture. It's not only Ghana that doesn't want or who will not wish the pump price to go up. We have a lot of international stake at hand. If you look at the U.S. election coming up, I don't think the current administration of U.S. will leave, petroleum prices to go globally. I mean, that will go against them. So they'll do everything that they can do. And that's my confidence that probably they will work seriously to help to end this conflict within the Middle East so that it doesn't escalate. If it does escalate, with the Middle East contributing to about 30% of global international oil supply or petroleum product supply, it's going to be a huge blow. We've seen it before with this kind of conflict and the potential impact, but I want to say that we are just lucky at this moment in time that it doesn't skyrocket. And that's why I want to call on the fact that those things that we have control over, let's work on them and strengthen them, so that when international dynamics don't go to our favor, we are not going to hit that much. Exchange rates, and then the other one, which is the taxes. These are the things that we have control.
But do you think this? But do you think this is sustainable? The reduction we are seeing entering into the next pricing window. Do you think we can maintain that momentum?
Yeah, I wish to say I would have been very happy to say emphatically yes, but no. I'll be cautious. I'll proceed with a huge caution because all the other things that you are seeing, we are entering into election year. There could be some spending, that cannot be controlled. That will impact the city. So the fundamental that I wanted to see that would have stabilized the city or stabilized the pump prices, I've not seen them that much yet. So I'm proceeding with caution. But of course, every single success is something that is worth celebrating. So I want to say that I want to urge that let's work towards to stabilize the city. That is a huge contributor to what the consumer pays at the pump. And other things that are required, especially our institutional strength in terms of the energy sector institutions. If we work to strengthen them, I believe, Pius, we don't need to be worried about international dynamics. But I'm proceeding with caution because international dynamics, they are something that can turn any other harm. Our city is something that is still on the cliff. Stable, getting stable, but we are not out of the woods yet.
Very well. Now, I want us to talk about the Tema Oil Refinery, where the Public Enterprises Minister, Joseph Kujo, who was at the Meet the Press series, stated that the toll has been reduced to a political football, a situation that has been, or it's made it too volatile for any serious investor to consider sinking capital into. And I'm saying this is very, very serious.
Yeah, indeed. Pius, if you have your animal, if you have your goods and you are selling it and you don't know how to market it, this is what is going to happen. It is interesting that it is coming from a politician, and he's saying it emphatically that it's because of political influence or interferences that is causing the situation in tow. And he hit the nail right on the head. And it's interesting for such a thing to come from a politician. Yes, and the question that people ask, now who caused them? Is the same politician who have caused that. And then if TOR as an entity was to remain independent, to run independently of interference from political actors of the day, perhaps this wouldn't be the refinery that we have. I worked as an engineer in the refinery for almost more than half a decade, and I know what TOR is capable of. And I can tell you with authority that perhaps that time Ghana even didn't have crude oil. Now we have crude oil. We have control over the input and output, yet we are struggling. So I still believe that anybody who says TOR is not profitable, I would like the person to rethink that TOR is profitable. Yes, it's beginning to uplift its useful life because of the negligence, but it is still hugely profitable if you give it the attention that it requires. And I think if you work towards TOR and we get it profitable, perhaps we are going to kill two birds with one stone. The exchange is going to help a lot if you do that. So let's work towards to get TOR running. I think it will help us a lot.
Very well. Thank you so much, Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, for your time here on Business Life. We appreciate it. And let's go to some other stories, which, of course, is a big story we are following up for you. The northern part of Ghana is said to be facing some serious drought. Now, the development has affected a lot of farmlands. But what could be the impact of this on food security and, of course, government's intervention to control the looming threat? Let's get on the phone lines and speak to the Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana, Anthony Morrison. Anthony, thanks so much for joining us on Business Life, and good to know you are on with us. Now, what has been the briefing you've had on the matter so far from your members who are up north?
Well, very good evening, Pius. So we are picking up from the north, and let me say this is not only in the north. It's a nationwide activity or a nationwide challenge at the moment. We are seeing similar thing in the lower Volta and also the coastal towns where we have food waste, also affecting vegetable production. For instance, if you go to the Adan enclaves and all the way to the Joje, to Penny, and all those areas that they do rice. They are also having challenges with their rice. Also in the eastern region, some part of the eastern region, we are seeing this. This is a nationwide problem that we need to actually begin to take action. And this, sometimes very difficult to be talking at this point when you know that some of these issues could have been preempted long ago with some of these government projects that have been initiated which haven't been executed properly. For instance, government was projected to have put in place a number of dams, about 574. If you had listened to the Public Accounts Committee, where the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority was there to engage the Public Accounts Committee, it was clearly stated. But where are these 574 dams? Where are they? Okay, and how are we making other facilities accessible for these farmers, even if they are usable? Okay. Now, what we are talking about is a situation where our national food security challenges will be much compounded, and also due to the fact that if farmers are not able to make anything out of this year's production season, it would possibly increase the national food price, and this will also imply that Ghana will have to import a lot of food going into the next year's dry season farming.
But whatever the situation is, government or the president is on record to have stated that in the coming days, policies will be announced to contain the situation. What are you looking forward to on that?
Pius, I want to be clear that what is happening is not about any kind of programs or policies that could be designed to intervene this. These challenges are not taking place in locality where you can go there and mitigate the issues. It's a nationwide spread activity. For instance, we are estimating that over 30,000 hectares of agricultural lands have been affected in the northern part. Okay, we are seeing similar things. So this borders on a technical activity that ought to be done. And I expect that the people at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, the Irrigation Development Authority, should come to the grounds, visit some of these areas, and begin to take action. Now, we have in the past, about 7 years ago, intimated that as a country where we have gotten to, there is a need for us to begin to look at a national agriculture disaster preparedness strategy. Okay, where are we? Are we in that we are able to mitigate this if these strategies were in place? And we have also opened that where we have gotten to in our agriculture development, we are ready now as a country to have the Ghana Agriculture Risk Management Coordinating Center. Okay, some of these things we shouldn't be in the position now to be looking at mitigation. Some of this activity could have been preempted long ago if this kind of agencies or infrastructures or government committees were in place, are actually looking at our preparedness situation for agriculture disaster and the risk mitigation.
All right, Morrison, let's make progress. Do you believe that farmers whose farmlands have been impacted as a result of this drought should be compensated quickly?
Yes, farmers should be compensated, but Pius, what happened to the VRA spillage victims in the Volta region, where government took some millions of dollars from the World Bank? We are almost getting to a year of that unfortunate disaster. What has happened to them? We don't trust government in the business of compensating farmers. We expect them to put in place the critical externalities that will enhance farmers to be able to be productive. What we should be looking at is, as a country, we do not even have a validated, credible national data of farmers with traceability and mapping such that we know, Mr. Pius, you have your farm at maybe TV3, the GTV, or radio, or whatever. No, we don't have anything like that. So we are in a situation where we are not going to use the right structures to do this compensation.
All right.
Just to be politics as usual.
All right, Anthony, thank you so much for making your point. Of course, this is a developing story, and we'll come to you as and when we need more clarification on that. Thanks so much, Anthony Morrison. You're still watching Business Live. We are back with more. Please stay. Again, the World Bank has indicated that Ghana is on the path to economic recovery. It is coming on the back of concerns that the economy has not recovered from the COVID-19 shocks because of high inflation rates and, of course, the cedi depreciation. But speaking to Joy Business, World Bank Country Director Robert O'Brien maintained that the biggest threat to this recovery now is whether the government can maintain fiscal discipline during the election year.
The government has said it's going to maintain the fiscal discipline needed. And I think, again, we're in the context of an ongoing debt restructuring. So the fiscal discipline is extremely important. There's also the IMF and the World Bank programs in place that also support and undergird the fiscal discipline needed. So I think the policy intent is there. The targets are there. And it'll be important this year to not have any policy slippages so that the government can keep on track with its commitments. The other side of that is the more day-to-day implementation of the budget. And this is the public financial management questions. And there we have to look at, are the systems robust? Do the systems control spending adequately? Is the financial information system covering all of government spending? Is the e-procurement system covering all of procurement? And no, not yet. Good progress is being made, but more has to be done there as well to ensure that there aren't slippages in implementation.
But are you satisfied with the assurances? Have you seen the structures in place from the bank's perspective that gives you some comfort that, well, my fears are maybe have been dealt with, or listen, it's a more of a wait and see, right?
Well, I think we have seen the progress thus far. We've seen, as I mentioned, significant fiscal consolidation thus far. So that's a very good track record in the last really 2 years. And as I mentioned, the programs are in place to support ongoing fiscal consolidation.
Added that the bank is set to disburse $1 billion to Ghana over the next 12 months to help stabilize the economy.
We have our portfolio and then we have our pipeline. So in terms of our portfolio, as I mentioned, the 4.4 billion, of that we dispersed over the past 6 months just over $1 billion. Over the past 12 months in Ghana, $1 billion. Of those expenditures on goods and services, construction, and so on, 70% of that funding was dispersed to Ghanaian companies. So 70% of those funds dispersed to Ghanaian companies. So I think a significant economic impact as well. And going forward in the next 12 months, we expect to disperse another $1 billion. So that's where we are. Now, looking forward to your question, our board of directors has approved, as you said, recently in June and July, and even into early August, over $830 million, including a project on financial stability, a project on energy sector reform. Those are $250 million each, and then the DPO was approved in January. That's $300 million, and then there's additional funding for the Gamma Water project of $30 million. So that is the 830 that I'm talking about. The energy project, the financial sector project, and the water project are still now with Parliament. I understand Parliament will reconvene soon, and we're very hopeful that they will approve those loans so we can get to having the impact in those sectors that we can have.
And that's it for the bulletin for tonight. I am Pius Kujubaka. We've got more stories for you when you log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Next is Beyond the Numbers. The guys are in. Isaac Kofiaje and Winston Taki. Guys, we are picking on Mama today.
We are not actually picking on Mama today. We are picking on this policy that this is election season, and many politicians, or let's say flag bearers, are putting out their policy to the populace. And we are assessing beyond the numbers whether these policies are feasible.
Interesting. Do stand by.